Here to talk to a whole legend, a guy that has done a lot for this city. As a DJ, he's put this city on his back. For me, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I told you this before. You like our Jam Master Jay, man. It kind of starts with you from the Atlanta sound, and it kind of grew from there. So we really appreciate you connecting with us. Of course, we got the legendary, the none other, the most world famous DJ Jelly from the Oomp Camp. Man, we appreciate you pulling up on the boys.
I appreciate it, fellas. Appreciate it.
And Jelly, I see you showed out. You was with the sneakers and sports guys. You showed out with the Jordan 7s on. I see you're real heavy in the sneaker game. So you understood the assignment. And I love the sweatshirt because you are a legend, sir.
Shout out to Voodoo or the Oomp Camp, but always keeping me right.
Yeah, he put that together for you. You had a brown fit on another podcast I saw that was pretty dope too. Yeah, that had Oomp Camp on it. It was
Voodoo.
dope.
Well, shout out to Voodoo, the Oomp Camp.
That's what's up, man. So let's jump into this, man. We want for y'all that don't know, of course, this man, like I said, is a whole legend. He been there, done that when it came to the Atlanta music and the sound. But we want to start from the beginning, before all the hits. We want people to know. I know you from St. Louis, strong, and I know that a certain celebrity brought you to this city. A guy that's in a music group called New Edition. Can you tell the people like what really brought you here as far as this whole legend?
I mean, my mother was reading Essence magazine, so that was like one of the biggest.
Yeah, the Jet and the Essence.
The Jet, Ebony, Essence.
Yep.
That was the magazine to read.
Yes, sir.
Back then, they didn't have no phones to be looking at stuff online, but that was like one of the biggest black music publications at the time.
Yes, sir.
And man, they had Bobby Brown building a gazillion-dollar house.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking like, damn, I'm about to graduate high school. I need to go to Georgia.
So what year is this? It's like 91 maybe?
This is 88.
88. Wow. So he's on Don't Be Cruel. He's spending that Don't Be Cruel money.
He was balling. I was like, oh, that's where I need to go. I mean, I literally look, I can just see myself right here. My mother sitting on the couch looking at the magazine. I'm looking over her shoulder like, oh, that's where I'm going. Just literally, that's all I see.
It's like Bobby came to the 80 before everybody.
Right.
Yeah, he was early. He planted the flag early, man.
Yeah, even before the face.
Yeah, even before Dion, before Bad Moon. Yeah, he planted the first flag.
I was like, well, that's why.
That's what's up. So when you got here, plane trip, bus trip, you drove out here.
I drove. Man, I forgot what kind of little. I had a Skylark with a hard white top.
So you came in style.
No, it was red. It was ghetto, but it got me hit on. It got me hit. I was good to go.
Wow. Mike the Expert, I know you want to get in here and kind of start talking about, Jelly's history.
Well, first of all, so when you got here, did you already know that you're going to be into DJing or?
Yeah, I was already DJing.
You're already DJing.
I was already DJing, so I just came here to get to the work.
Gotcha.
That was all my mind. I was just like, I got to make a way. That's how I was thinking.
Got you.
Period.
So what initially got you into the music game? Was it DJing or were you doing anything else before then? Or
no, it was I mean, I actually got an intern. Like the first year I got here, I was going to college. This is 90, and I got an internship at Bobby Brown's studio.
Got you.
It was so crazy because I was at London College of Arts, which is now SCAD.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I had a video program, and we went to Bobby Brown, Bosstown, the studio. Mm-hmm. Went over there on a field trip, right? And so I got the dude who was running the studio was talking about this, that, and the other. And I chimed in. I'm up here ear hustling and putting in my 2 cents. And he was like, you know what? You need to come and see me, young man. After and you could have your apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Or a gopher really going to get food for the engineers.
That's what all that.
I was get all that. I didn't care. I was like, I'm game. Let's go.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything to get your foot in the door, right?
Yeah, had to.
That's something I think you should speak on with the young people, because a lot of times young people feel like, man, I should just be on, right? Or they meet you out in the street and they hand you, not really handing you music, but email you music at this point.
They email, yeah.
I should just be on at this point. And it's like, y'all, you gotta put some work in.
Oh man, you have to really grind to get yourself in. When people say grind, that means you got to start from zero, really, and just whatever you got to do. If you got to wash out the toilet and sweep the porch off. You just do that and work your way up into whatever organization or situation that you're trying to get into.
Got you. So what did the music scene look like when you first got here? Like what was going on? What type of music?
Nothing but Booty Shake. Booty Shake was real big. The Kilos, the Success Effect was on fire when I came.
Okay.
That Roll Up My Nigga was on fire. And BB Bell Bill DeVoe Poison was popping real hard.
That was my group. Yep.
Yeah, man.
That was on fire too. Bobby, of course.
Shout out to Johnny DeVoe.
To Kirk and Rashida because they had the group Capers. And Kirk was putting up posters and stuff on billboards. This before So Def.
Yeah.
Before BMF. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they was already on it.
So they've been doing their thing for a while then. Yeah.
Shouts out to Rashida. And Rashida was
Yeah.
So then you had like the Hard Boys. Shouts out to Dallas Austin and Carrie and all them. They was doing the Hard Boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? No, this was kind of the same time. Raheem came out a little bit before them and Sammy Sam.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But when I came here in '89, that was just all that was bubbling up real hard, like the Hard Boys, CMP and all that stuff. That was
wow.
It was hitting.
So I got to ask you about a legend to me, Kilo Ali.
Kilo Ali.
I know you was one of them guys that was early on breaking some of his records when he was a young man. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I remember the first time I met him and Jarvis. Shouts out to Jarvis's manager who had the Raheem Seafood off of MLK.
Oh, wow.
Near 285. They came to me. I was working at Magic City. This is 90, 91.
Okay.
And Kilo, I think he was might still been in high school, but he got in Magic City, so they came up to me and bought cocaine, the record Cocaine.
Yep.
12-inch.
I know this girl.
Man, with the little art, with the cartoon artwork on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember they was like, man, we need help. We need,
right.
Play the record. And I'm the kind of DJ, even to this day, like, you give people a chance.
Right.
If it's the right time and stuff, you just give people like, okay, I'll play it because you never know what might happen.
Exactly. Did you foresee Kilo taking off the way he did for Atlanta?
Did I what?
Did you see that after you played the Cocaine record?
No, I didn't. He was already bubbling though, kind of. He was already bubbling. You know what I'm saying? Not as hot as Raheem, but he was bubbling though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was on the scene. So, but it was I was just like, I don't care. I just play it, in the strip club. Back when strip clubs was real strip clubs.
Yeah.
Hey, when they weren't telling stories, they weren't doing Instagram stories.
No, none of that.
Hey, prior post, I know you want to get in here and ask some couple questions. No, so I got here in 91 and Mike the Expert a little bit after that.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, he is East Point. He on the point, born in the point. So people say ain't no locals here. There you go.
Well, like I said, this is a special moment for me personally. I've been a fan since day one there. I know we'll get into your music and things like that. But I just want to know, like, we had to go before you starting out with, the Atlanta scene. Where did your name DJ Jelly?
That came from a partner of mine because I'm a big Prince fan.
Me too.
I'm in the Prince, the time, all that Minneapolis music. And my boy was like, the drummer in the time, man, his name Jelly Bean, man. You should be, why don't you just name your name Jelly Bean? Even though I look more like Jerome, but I was like, huh? And then he like, man, yeah. Then LL Cool J came out with I'm Bad and had Crush You Like a Jelly Bean. That's when I first just started DJing. Yeah. And it just, the fact that he said that and then that song came, it just connected. And I was just like, you right, Jelly Bean.
Oh,
that was in the first mix then.
Yeah, Jelly Bean. Crush You Like a Jelly Bean. I said, well, I'll just take the Jelly Bean.
Bro, can you imagine it being DJ Jerome?
Right, DJ Jerome. That wouldn't work.
No.
You'd have to switch that out.
Right.
That didn't have a lot of legs.
Crazy, but that's what happened.
Wow, man. So, talking about kind of when you first got here, I know you had the apprenticeship, but I heard you talked your way into a job that you wasn't really ready to do at the time.
Magic City. Shouts out to DC Brain Supreme. There it is. He took a chance on me, man.
And it's still early 90s?
This is 90, 91.
Yeah.
Cool.
All this stuff is just happening. I came in 89, but then 90, yeah, but 90, 91 is just I came down here, just balls to the wall. Just came. And DC really took a chance. And it's so crazy because I was working at Bobby Brown's studio. I got fired one time. Peebo Bryce and Triple OG saved me from getting fired. And then a couple of months later, I knew something wasn't right. And I started kind of going out looking for jobs, Frozen Paradise,
That's
Old Nat, Playboy Palace, which is a strip club, which is now what's it called club? What's the club right there at the corner of Old National and Frankie Beverly's manager, Mr. Joe Club. It's the old school club over there.
I remember the name.
Crow's
Rainforest, huh?
Crow's Nest?
No, not Crow's.
So that's flat shows and
No, not that far down. That's Frozen.
that's Frozen. Okay.
That's Frozen Paradise. But we get back to that. So anyway, it was just crazy, man, at that time. So I was like, man, I think I'm gonna get fired again. So I went out looking for a job. I'm everywhere. I went to Magic City and I was just like, fuck it. I ain't never been to a strip club, but I'm a head. I was a DJ. So I went talking shit. Yeah, man, I know how to, man, I do this shit all the time. Da, da, da. DC just looked at me like, okay. So it was leading up. I knew the other engineers I was working with. I was the only black kid there. You know, I don't want to throw the black card out, but it was very real. You know, we in Georgia. All white engineers, because I'm always, all the artists come, like Gene Griffin, rest in heaven, Gene Griffin, Basic Black, who was a up and coming New Jack crew during that time that made a lot of hits doing like with Kid Sweat and all them. So they come and practice. I come bring my turntable. After I'm finished miking and dealing with the engineers all day, I stay when it's late, bring my turntable so I can at least come scratch on something, do something.
Put some work in.
Exactly. So the engineers wasn't with that shit. They like this.
Like, we want to go home.
But I knew I was gonna get fired, so I went on a job search. So when I got fired, man, 2 weeks later, DC called me like, man, come on by here, man, and let's try it out. I was like, oh, that's perfect.
So how did they respond to you when you first came in?
I was about to get killed.
What was you spinning though?
I was about to get killed, bro.
So
I mean, that motherfucker spinning goddamn Pee Wee Herman shit, like hip hop shit.
Oh, that joint go hard though.
Because you get it, shit when you trying to strip and motherfuckers listen to Planet Rocky and goddamn It's Time. And then Dada.
Yeah.
You know, because they you know, it's during that time strip club shit was fast. The music was fast. BPMs were fast. So, man, I learned that quick because they was about to kill my ass.
I said you killed all the money up in here.
They're like, what you doing? I had to change that. I changed that shit up ASAP.
Wow.
Yeah, ASAP. But it was no problem. But I ended up putting it all together too, though. Because I was doing mashups before it was known as mashups. So I would combine all that shit because I was from St. Louis originally. So, you know, I grew up on Too Short, NWA, Luke Skywalker. So I had music.
Because you're in the middle where you get everything.
I'm in the middle where I'm getting everything. So I ended up starting to put all that shit together.
Right.
That was something.
Because at that time, musically, it was kind of very regionally segregated, right? Because I remember moving here from Ohio, and I would go back and like play Kilo, and they're like, "What is this?
Yeah,
turn that off. I don't listen to that."
Oh man, I had plenty of stories when I traveled playing Atlanta music. People used to cuss me out, and laugh and all that shit. Like, you know, when you were a kid, like they all laughing at you. You know, they did not understand Atlanta shit. They used to look at me like, this nigga coming with this bullshit. Go all up in the Carolinas. We talk about Carolinas up the street. They thought they was straight New York.
Yeah.
They would look at me like, nigga, this is some bullshit. But I would flip it over and then playing New York shit too. So, you know, going back and forth. But they was just like, nigga, this shit crazy.
Because early hip hop at that point, that's all you really heard was New York
and West
Coast. You heard NWA. You heard, you know, at that time, it probably would have been on a national scale. You would have heard Big Daddy Kane, LL, people like that.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna hear no Raheem or Kilo outside of our region,
buddy.
Like, so me and Don went to college together in New Orleans, and I remember the first time I actually heard like Jubilee, and I heard the Hot Boys. And I remember he used to have a song, the Hot Boys, and then I actually heard Han. I was like, what in the hell is this, man? he just saying huh over, but it sound good though. And I'm trying to figure out what is he saying. Like when he said you broke, you drove, huh? I was like, what does he mean you drove? Like he drove a car?
Classic.
I didn't know yet because I was from somewhere else, but I gave it a chance. It was great. And then yeah. And then when I first heard bounce music, it just blew my mind. I said, man, it's like Atlanta, but different though.
Yeah. I mean, that was the early twerking, but what we ended up developing the twerking came from the bounce and the beat popping.
Exactly.
I just thought about the club I was thinking about when I said I was looking for a job. I went to Playboy Palace, which is now Backstage.
Wow.
That's what, it was a strip club. It was pop.
I bet
that motherfucker was turned.
I bet right there on
oh my god.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you how it was at the strip clubs back then, like in Magic City, compared to how they are now. Like
right now it's dead. This stuff that's going on now is shouts out to Blue Flame, Mike Cato, and Greg and all of them Swamp. Like that. Yeah. That still encompasses the vibe of old Atlanta.
Gotcha.
Even right now. Like it's about as close to old Atlanta as you can get.
Yeah.
As far as the energy.
Gotcha.
It's interesting because everybody shouts out Magic City, but I remember Club Nicky, and it's gonna be funny. Y'all gonna laugh when I tell you why I remember. So my dad had did like a internship. He went to HBCU. His first internship was here, and so I remember he used to always have his Club Nicky shirt on. He had like two of them. He had a red one and a yellow one.
Wow.
And had the girls on there. I'd be like, "Where's that at?" He's like, "It's a place you gonna hang out." I said, "Can we go?" He's like, "Nah, you ain't old enough for that."
Club Nicky.
Yeah, shout out to my pops, man. He's a little inappropriate, but hey, he's my guy.
You inappropriate now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Mike, I know you Prime, I know you had something.
Yeah, so just expound on those Magic City days. Can we just say that you're the one that put Magic City on the map?
No, hell no. I mean, no.
Everybody knew about it, but Magic City is like, it's like
some myth.
Still think of that as Atlanta. Like you think of Atlanta, you think of Magic City.
Yeah, because it's got the national recognition though. That's because of all the politicians and all the sports people and all the actors and rappers.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why it's like that. But I mean, Magic. I mean, that was my first job. That was my first DJ job. So shouts out to Magic, Baby Magic, everybody over there. So
so for you, when you watch BMF, how close is that to the real thing? When they show what was going down in Magic City, seeing people like Deion Sanders in there, Meech and those things, how close from what they showing on that TV show is close to the real thing?
Yeah, it's real close.
Okay, so it's acting.
Yeah,
that's what's up. Yeah. Mike the Expert, I know you had something.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, so we're going away from so I know you went to the Magic City thing, and then you started to kind of blow up, you know, on the scene and everything.
Well, I ended up meeting MC Assault, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you end up meeting MC Assault.
Yeah, you know. And actually I met, shouts out to Freddie B, who was the main Oomp Camp producer who made all the ATL hoes and the intoxicated songs and all intoxicated stuff. I ride with some players on down the line. I met Fred on the MARTA. I was in college. I was at Atlanta College of Art, which is now SCAD, and I was on the MARTA, and I had a 808 drum machine, a rolling 808 drum machine.
Wow.
Boys and girls, that's where you make beats back then. You don't have to have software.
And that's what Troy talked about. He said I bought this beat machine, about big as a calculator.
Yeah, calculator. He was more, that was a couple of years.
Yeah, that was a couple of years later.
So I met Freddie B on the MARTA, and he was like, "Man, you know how to use that?" I was like, "No, I don't know how to use it, but I was trying to figure it out." He's like, "Man, my partner want to get a DJ, and we trying to take down the J Team, who was obviously the biggest mixtape folks during that time. Yeah, the J Team. Shouts out to Elwood J, Smurf, Kizzy, all of they was running. They was running Georgia.
I was just about to
definitely the East Side." So I was like, cool. I met up with MC Assault. He was like, yeah, bro, we gonna do this, go to the top of the mountain and make the biggest mixtapes in the world. I was like, cool, whatever, let's just go. And yeah, man, that's when things started changing. I got with Assault and we started making these mixtapes, because you gotta realize back then hip hop and rap music wasn't on the radio.
No.
So my mixtapes became that. It was basically like a street Bible.
Mm-hmm.
We played everything. We broke everybody music. We talk about like Outkast. We broke everybody music through them mixtapes.
Right.
And then Freaknik was cracking during that time.
You was right on time.
It was right on time.
Because you could give them the mixtape and they could take it back where they
Right on time. So you had people from Ohio, you had people from West Coast, New York, down in Miami. You know, they come and get them mixtapes, and we was setting up shop too. We had about 50 stores, and so we set up shop everywhere, and we was out them slanging them tapes.
Man, I remember as a kid watching Arnell Starr, and they played "What's Up with the Bankhead Bounce," and I was a huge like Kizzy Rock fan, and seeing him in the music video, I was like, man, Atlanta's here. Like y'all have no idea. And then,
Kizzy Rock,
yeah, man. So it was
King of the East Side. Shout out to my boy Kizzy.
So tell me, for you, man, we've heard a lot of different people's stories about Freaknik. For you as a DJ, what was that like? Because we always hear the stories about the partying, but as a DJ, you had to have like a really cool view of it.
No, I did. I mean, I was an entrepreneur. Like me and Assault, Big Oomp, we was out there hustling, man. We was working, making money, man, taking care of families. We took care of plenty of families,
right?
Just off these tapes. Like me and Assault, we'd be up. Shouts out the store of Marvin. We have like a table like this with about 50 tape decks, and we'd be in that motherfucker ejecting each one, putting in tapes, recording, dubbing, take them out. Like we had an assembly line going.
Yeah.
And you know, we was out there hustling every day doing Freaknik. So I would be at V doing the mix show, come back to go to 559 the next day, which was the biggest ghetto Atlanta club at that time. Shouts out to Mike Cato. All this would be going on. And then we go to like Lakewood and set up a booth and sell a tape. So we was doing this.
Because Lakewood, you right in the middle of the store.
Right in the middle of it. And this was Sunday through Sunday. Then we might hit Simpson Road and slang tapes. Go to the BP over that way. Like this, we did this every day.
Right. Y'all putting in grind like.
Yeah, Sunday through Sunday, because one, we had to make money. We didn't have no regular jobs.
Right.
I mean, I used to work at Peppermint Records before that.
Yep. I remember that.
But then Assault was like, man, he hit Oompo like, man, we need Jelly, man. He fired, man. He don't need to work at no Peppermint Records. We need to get him some money or something. And we end up all getting together, man. And the rest is history. Yeah. No, I was at the one in the West End.
West End, okay.
Yeah. So when I hear that, I hear like, it makes me think of like P and guys like that and Too Short that sold tapes out the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
And I think that you saw something different that kind of like New York artists were already getting in DJs, right? They already understood the power of the mixtape.
Yeah.
But that just didn't get here. And y'all's approach, if you can go into that with the mixtape, tell me like why y'all switched up the approach. Because typically a mixtape was just a bunch of random songs put together. It wasn't no actual.
I mean, no, because you think about the J Team, they had mixes like.
Well, I mean, traditional, like if you think about like New York mixtape, it'd be.
New York mixtape was.
Y'all approached a mixtape like an album. How did y'all come to that?
Our thing was more like we did production, like Smurf and them and the J Team. They were doing like the slow music with the fast beat. And they might do like a 15-minute segment of that. Then they might come with some regular hip hop stuff, 15 minutes. We took like each thing and explored it. We might have a whole booty shake tape with slow music, 90 minutes of booty shake and slow music together. We exploited the shit out of that. We would add an 808 drum machine. We really brought production to mixtape. And that really changed how people did production in Atlanta. That whole from 90 to 2000 easily. Like we influenced a lot of folks, and they would tell you that. You go down to Shawty Red, to Lil Jon, like we would just take stuff and flip it, mash it up as the kids call it now, and change it. We would do production. And I have Intoxicated on there rapping and Sammy Sam on there rapping. Because to me, I was influenced personally by like Dr. Dre.
Right.
He used to do swap beat mixtapes where he would have all these different tracks running together, and then he have like Easy and them rapping on an Ice Cube. I was like, he broke they shit. So
exactly
he did with our shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know you were talking about the Oomp Camp records. what were like your first group of artists, and who actually really just set it off for you all?
Well, our first group of artists was Major.
Before you do that,
Okay, yeah, go.
let's talk about how Big Oomp started.
Okay.
Because you mentioned him earlier when during the early Freaknik days. He was out there with.
Yeah, so Big Oomp started because we all met through a mutual friend of Oomp's, and they friend. Shouts out to Big Lee. He was like, man, you need to get with them boys. Them boys be out there hustling. They doing their thing. You need to connect with them, man. And Oomp got that bag behind us. It's like, look, man, if y'all want to expand, let's do it. Boom, boom. And that's how. So it started with the DJ Jelly MC Salt mixtape. Then we end up creating Big Oomp Records after that. After we build our name and our brand, then you start hearing Big Oomp. I'm DJ. We started creating that brand after the DJ Jelly MC Assault brand.
Got you.
That's okay.
Got you. This was around like 95 or so?
95 is when the whole Oomp Camp thing really started hitting hard.
Okay.
And then really Sammy Sam set it off. Our first act was Major Bank, which was MC Assault.
Yeah. I remember.
It was MC Assault, Starvin Marv, and Loco the Lunatic, which Loco is like most phenomenal lyricist to me in Georgia. One of the top ever.
Gotcha.
So we started with them. Major Bank didn't really, it was kind of like a offset of some NWA kind of Atlanta shit mixed together, but it did all right. But Sammy Sam really got down. Nigga know what it is.
Yeah.
Sam came with it, and it was like, oh, this is for real.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Oomp's favorite rapper.
Gotcha.
Had to have So it was
Sammy Sam take me back to Nike.
Sam, man, Sam, it was a rap after Sam, man. Shouts out to Sam, the hit man.
Sam.
Legend. When you think of legends in Atlanta, Kilo, Sammy Sam.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So, all right, so Sam takes off. Y'all don't kick the door in. What do you feel like took the roof off of it? Because I know what I think took the roof off
of the Oomp Camp.
Yeah, I know what I feel.
Nationally or just
period. Like the city, and then of course it started to spread.
I mean, with the city, I would say to me is when we end up connecting with Troy and Baby D shit just started really hitting hard with the East Side West.
Right. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And then we doing features back and forth with Troy, Intoxicated, Baby D, like all that energy right there, because they were the younger at the time, and it was just that energy. They was killing that shit right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit like Bag Up, East Side, West Side. It was a rap. That's what broke us through Georgia.
That's what's up. So how did y'all meet Baby D? Because I'm gonna be honest, man. Of everybody on Oomp Camp, my favorite is probably Baby D and Unc. We gonna get to Unc in a minute, but I was a Baby D guy because I remember, and Prime Post could probably remember this. We was at places like Nike Pavilion, Warehouse. See, this is crazy. This would never be allowed now. In this city, they had clubs for teenagers.
Yeah,
there was an adult club.
BK.
But it'd be just teenagers in there.
BK before that.
Yeah. So
like that was, of course, Sharon Showcase way before that. And shouts out to Miss Sharon, the matriarch. Man, you gotta give us some love. Man, that shit was crazy, bro. The whole thing, like I said, Baby D, the whole East Side West Side kicked off real well. And
so how'd y'all end up signing D? Like how did
D came up? D used to come and just hang up at the Greenbrier Flea Market. Man, he come up there. Yeah, but before that, he would always come and be like, "Man, I want to rap, shout out, rap, shout out, rap." And like he come every day.
He like a teenager.
Yeah, he was a teenager. Wow. Baby, he was like 14 or something, 13. No, about 14.
Wow.
Right. He was persistent, and I was just like, okay, here he come again. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why don't you just come rap on the song?
Right.
On the mixtape.
Okay.
And then he just started hanging. Him and Lil C, rest in peace, Lil C.
Mm-hmm.
They just come and hang. And they'll come to MLK when I used to live on MLK at one of Oomp's spots, which is really our office now, 1079.
Wow.
And they would just come and hang with me all the time. And then they was like, well, we can help y'all up at the booth. We'll sell the CD. Well, not CDs then, but it was tapes. So they started hanging, and I started putting them on the mixtapes to rap. Then I was like, they started hanging with me. I started taking them to like boys and girls clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started hanging out at the roller skate rinks all together, going to the talent shows together.
Right.
just hanging. Then I started taking them to places like the Gentleman Club, Club Nicky's.
Right.
And we mind you, like I said, they 14, 15.
Yeah.
They get in the clubs. And they just started hanging. I started coaching them. And we just started creating that relationship. And it was a wrap. It was a wrap.
Rest is history.
Yeah, because I feel like, man, when Baby D hit us with the original East Side, West Side,
Yes.
Oh my
it shut this whole city down. I mean, it didn't matter what side of town, if you were north side, south side. And it just so happened I was lucky enough that when I moved there, I moved to Stone Mountain. So I would have been east side. So
Yeah.
it just so happened I could be with the east siders and things like that.
Shouts out to DJ Triple J, who really broke that record for us, because we were, at that time when we were coming out the Big On Record stuff and the Baby D stuff, we were pushing Back Up with Pastor Troy.
Yep.
But Triple J was over at the 559. He had a night, I had a night, but he started really pushing that East Side, West Side. It was a rap. Shouts out to Triple J, DJ Triple J.
So I got to take a little pause here at east side, west side, bro. The first version was crazy. The second version was like,
That's some shit.
they couldn't even play the whole song.
That's some shit. And
Y'all would shut the club down. Like when people be talking about tear the club up, Thug, shout out to 666. I know it's a hit, but if you from here, you know.
Yeah, if you a
When they
lady,
come on there,
Yeah.
that
You know-
east side hole, and then when the beat come in,
yeah.
dum, dum,
And that
dum.
came from, like I said, that came from me and Baby D. We was messing with these chicks during that time. They would always had that voice. And
Yeah.
they would chant that when I played different music, different types of music. And we was like, man, we need to make a song like that.
Bro,
We
when
started,
y'all came with that, and then when the beat comes in, he jump. It's
Sounds like
like-
DJ Monte coming in on that too, on the production side.
Y'all
Gotcha,
wrecked
gotcha.
that. So like when you first recorded that, did you know like, oh, we got one?
Yeah.
This going.
No, because when we was vibing in the club and listening to the bras and stuff, we like, that's our song. We doing this.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a rap. It was a rap. We had to make that happen.
No, that
That's when you really connect, man, in the universe. Like when you
right.
pay attention to certain stuff, it can be the simplest things. You be like, and it connect. You be like, yeah,
Exactly.
let's go.
Yeah, because you think about just simple songs like Head Buster. When you tell you put your hand with your fist, it go crazy. But man, that right there, that whole album was just
Classic.
classic,
Classic.
finish, man. Big time.
ATL ho, which is
Yeah, that.
everybody mama to this day saying ATL.
Yo,
If Atlanta United win a game, the Falcons win a game, the Hawks win a game, the Braves win a game.
Yup.
If y'all didn't know, it came from this young man right here. That's where it came from.
Crew. Shouts out to the Oomp Camp.
Most people don't even know that where it came.
I always tell them.
And what's so funny,
Yeah.
so I went to a United playoff game this season. When I seen him play Messi. Shout out to my homie Jose. Worked for Atlanta United. Put me on with the tickets to see Messi.
You go.
So they won the game. I see people that are from everywhere else in the world because Atlanta United has a diverse audience, and I see people that are from Brazil,
Yeah.
Venezuela. They chant ATL. I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Came straight out of 1079 MLK.
Dang.
How does that make you feel when you at a Falcons game or an event and you see that?
I'm always happy, man. I'm proud. I mean, that's like when I started traveling as a DJ around the world, being in Japan. I remember me and Baby D was in Japan together, and we just in the club, and they doing East Side, West Side. We looking at each other, and they don't even, this Japanese folks.
Right.
We just looked at each other like, wow. We just had a moment. Huh?
They didn't know y'all.
No, they knew they knew. But it's just the fact that their response was like people at Esso's or right, here in Atlanta.
That's so in the
Yeah.
basement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so Courtland.
Oh, it's Cortland in the basement.
Let's make that clear.
In the But it was such a, surreal, we looking at each other like, wow, this is stuff we did in 1079 MLK. And it's around the world.
It's around the world.
That's a
That's
blessing.
amazing.
That's a blessing.
Well, I mean, like right now, I see that you can look back and see how big everything got. But while you were in it, when y'all were hustling, you were in it. Did y'all realize how big it was getting?
No. We just knew that we had to make a way.
Yeah.
That's what was on my make some money and make a way.
Yeah.
Just make a way. This is what
Gotcha.
we want to do. This is what we're gonna do.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like we'll say, well, we're gonna be the biggest thing, and
Mhm.
we wanted to be the biggest thing, but
Yeah.
we just like we're gonna make this happen.
It was for
Gotcha.
love.
It's
Gotcha.
for love.
That's what most people don't understand. When you have something that you love, you want to make money,
Yeah.
but it's not about the
Yeah.
money. The money's gonna come if you actually put the work in.
Yeah.
It's about the love. Most people that got something they love, you You talk to even guys that play sports.
Yeah.
Somebody like Michael Vick, any athlete you name, Trae Young, they love their craft first.
Oh man, passion.
It's probably times at your house you tearing the roof down because you just love the craft.
Yeah, it's the passion, man. That gives you reasons to live.
Yep.
You know?
Go ahead, Prime.
So yeah, I was gonna piggyback off what you were saying when you and Baby D traveled to Japan, and he was like, "Man, this is surreal. Like these people know across the ocean." Like,
yeah.
So was that moment there that you knew, like, "Hey, we did it"?
Yeah. That definitely was a defining moment. That was defining.
Even over the basement when y'all went to the basement with Big Tigger.
Well, that's later though.
I mean, no.
It
was kind of same time. It was the same time. It was during the same period. Yeah, it was the same period. I mean, the basement thing, like I've always been involved in like the politics with the industry stuff in terms of like DJ and stuff, like being involved with people. So that was just a plan, like, okay, I got to do this. But the Japan thing for me was really such a defining moment for Big Oomp Records and Oomp Camp. You know, like all this work we've done, this is what's happening. Now it's way over here. You know, it's worldwide. And this was before Oomp, because Oomp really, in terms of a real industry, like that blew up.
Yeah, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Yeah, I'm going to tell you this, man. What y'all did as far as when you first came to radio, and what's going to lead to a question here. When I first moved here, used to hear Peebo Bryson, Keith Sweat, you know, heavy R&B, you know, Babyface, and, you know, I remember Mike and Carol in the morning. You got to really be here to know who that is. And we used to only get like just a little segment of rap. It's very small hip hop segment.
Darren Fierce Fresh Party.
Yeah. So when y'all came with Baby D, it's like you forced their hand. Y'all gonna have to play this on the radio.
Yeah, well, really, the forcing came when we did Intoxicated before Baby D. The group Intoxicated, Be Real, and Shawty Beasley. We had a song called Which Way. It was a booty shake song, but
I remember that
some gangster shit. So that was the first record that we really was like taking meetings at Hot and coming up there like, look, man, y'all gonna play this damn record.
Right.
You know, wasn't no, I'm gonna give you none of that pay, none of that. He was like, nigga, you in Atlanta, y'all gonna play our shit type shit.
We gonna show love.
Yeah. Like it wasn't no joke. We had the goons and, you know, all that. Everybody was on deck.
Hey, so you was on my band. If one more label try to stop me, it's gonna be some dread. You was on that early.
Yeah. Definitely.
And what's crazy when you talk about y'all forced their hand, you probably remember this. So when 107.9 came, and shout out to Mike the Expert, he had family work there when the station was new.
Yep.
So, you know, back in the Chris Lover and Poon Daddy days.
Even before
before that, when that station first came to Atlanta, all you heard was Nas and Jay and Big. It was nothing but New York. Puff Daddy, Bad Boy. It was nothing but New York music, but it was the only hip hop they would play. If you had to hear other hip hop, you had to stay up till midnight to watch Arnold Star. Other than that, wasn't no hip hop. And then y'all came with the Oomp Camp and forced their hand to play Atlanta.
Well, the thing was, when I wasn't hired at Hot yet, but I was going around cranking up all the DJs in Atlanta. Like, man, fuck that. They playing all this Puff Daddy. They need to be playing our shit. So I started cranking up all the DJs.
Right.
And the record labels calling me like, well, Jelly, what you doing? I'm like, shit, we in Atlanta. What you talking about?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
In New York, they play their stuff. In Atlanta,
so
they play their stuff.
and they looking at me like, damn, you down there causing problems? I'm like, yeah, because we're in Georgia. So they didn't like that. So I didn't get hired at Hot right away because I was cranking it up, stirring up. Well, it wasn't stirring up shit. Just that this some bullshit. Right. I'm going to speak on it.
Exactly.
And I've always been that way about Georgia, though. Everywhere I've gone. Like, if I was in New York, I've always spoke up like, no. And that's how I've always been. But, yeah, eventually I got hired and I had the first all-Atlanta show, which is called a Traffic Jam.
I remember that.
So that's late 98, 99. I played nothing but Atlanta music. And shouts out to Steve Haywood, the program director. He was like, Jelly, just do what you do. And he just gave me the reins and I went off. And after that, it was like, everybody and mama come bring me a CDR or bring me, demo of that shit. And I would play the hell out of that shit on the radio because it was the first Atlanta show, mix show.
Right. So Prime, I know you want to speak on something because one of your favorite Prime's all-time favorite group and artists, you got in a lot of trouble for playing one of their records. You had an executive call. You Prime, I know you won't probably want to ask him about that.
Yeah, so like how did that speak on that? What was it like? You got somebody said something to you about it or what?
Well, I mean, the thing was,
let's tell them the record.
The record was Outkast Elevators. So Gip and Dre, shouts out to Big Gip and Dre. They bought. I was on the road with Goody Mob. I was Goody Mob's first road DJ. So I just got off the road, and then I got hired at Hot. So I'm up there playing music, blah blah blah. And Dre and Gip come to me. They called me downstairs. Man, we got this record. They had a test pressing, so they had no writing on it. It was just yellow. And they was like, man, we need your support, Jill. I was like, cool, let's go. I'm on there. I put it on, man. That was some of the wildest shit I heard. I was like, damn, this shit different. But I'm turning up. I'm playing it, bringing it. I'm letting that shit just go. I'm playing it back to back for hours, off and on. Hours. I might go into something else, come back with that shit. And everybody just called up there like, damn, this shit. So L.A. Reid called the program director at the time, Steve Hegwood. I don't know what the conversation was, but he wasn't happy. So he was just like, basically like, man,
stop playing it.
Get this mug. Like,
right.
And the program director like, no, we gonna do what we do as a station, and he gonna be DJ Jelly as he do what he do.
Right.
Then
he wasn't ready to let it go.
He didn't like the record. He didn't believe in the record.
Gotcha.
So
a lot of stuff.
So now that ends up pushing up the time on the record to get put out.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, everybody else from there, everybody else started playing it.
That's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. But, he's a executive / artist. He didn't like the way it sounded, mix. The rest is history, bro.
Yeah, man.
Damn good record.
What that reminds me of, I remember hearing that record a lot. I'm a big Wu-Tang fan.
Okay.
And they have a version of Protect Your Neck, and it's in the little docuseries too, where the guy says, I never called a radio station and asked for a song, but I want to ask for Protect Your Neck. He like, you gonna keep calling? He said, yeah, again and again. That was you right there with Elevators, bro. Straight up. It was definitely
phenomenal record, man. It was a groundbreaking record too, man. Like it was nothing like that at that time at all. That was a unicorn.
At all, man. That's a 101 that,
yes.
You might go your whole career and never get that.
Yep, off their second album.
Right.
That wasn't the lead single off the second album.
No.
The lead single was Jazzville, right?
No. Shit, it might have been Elevators.
It's Elevators.
It was Elevators.
Okay.
Shoot. I mean, you got to think about even before that with the first album, man. They wasn't playing that on no radio. They were looking at them like, man, we ain't playing that shit up here. We playing straight Jay-Z and all that. Because I had a problem. I mean, I ended up, I was at V then, and I just started playing all that shit. All of a sudden, the player listening, I was like,
let it ride.
Yeah.
I remember my introduction to Outkast. So the shop where my mom got her hair done, it was an executive work for LaFace. And they gave out these LaFace CDs. And everything that was on there was like TLC, a couple other big artists that were LaFace artists. Of course, Tony was on there. Yeah,
it was probably that LaFace Christmas.
It was the second one. It was the second one.
Okay.
Because what was on there was the Carjacking song.
Benz and Beamer.
That's what was on there. And that was my introduction. I was like,
New Jersey soundtrack. It was on a drive.
Yeah.
Jersey Drive, yeah.
Yeah, when Drake said, he said, I ain't got no problems. I'm just trying to break the steering column. And they talking about stealing cars from the MARTA train station.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, this is really different from New York. This sounds great. So
yeah, and it's so crazy with Outkast, man. And I always tell a story, man. The first time I heard him, I was like, no,
What?
I just at that time, I was just like, no, man, this ain't it. I heard Players Players Ball. I'm like, no, man.
Really?
I was, and I'm because I was a TLC fan, all that R&B shit, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But then eventually, when I was slanging them tapes at Nicky's on Stewart Avenue, I saw the video for Players Ball, and I saw Dre with that Atlanta braids
jersey,
and it was on the projector. I was just looking at that shit like, damn, this is a song I didn't like. I was like, this is I see that nigga up there going off, boy. I'm gonna be looking at him like, oh, I'm going back to the crib. This nigga didn't look like, I'm like, shit. Cause that video really changed my perception.
Yeah.
See,
Wait.
on that album, what really took me over was Ain't No Thing.
Oh,
And especially when they play the part where they flying over Atlanta, you tell you the Stone Mountain and everything like that.
whole album was,
And they say niggas in the point ain't changed.
Niggas in the point ain't. That whole album was just, it was like the Chronic.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know nothing about West Coast, you had the Chronic. Or if you, or like Nas' first album, I thought I was on the damn up in them trains with Timberlands on. Like that Southern Playlisted album was just phenomenal. Masterpiece.
Phenomenal.
It's crazy. I just saw Ray the other day. Shouts out to Ray and rest in peace, Ray. I saw Ray. Ray said he want to go back and remix the album. He said it wasn't mixed right.
Wow.
And we looking at him like, huh?
What are you talking about?
It's like, shit. You know, but you know, it is what it is. Phenomenal.
So I got to ask you something. I'm going to let Mike the expert jump in here. So I was at a concert that you probably DJ'd, and this what took me over, right? So I remember Goody Mob, and that same lady that gave the CD that had Outkast, she gave me a Goody Mob, and the only song that was on there was Dirty South. I played that song 20 times in a row the first time. I was like, oh man, I'm trying to learn every word. And I remember I went to a concert. It was at the Roxy. It's Usher, it's Goody Mob. Dog, how did you end up linking up with them and being with a legendary group like that?
Shouts out my boy Darren Davis who passed away. Jesus. They had, shouts out Talib Shabazz, they had a street team. And then for the kids who don't know, the kids that know nothing about street team, those are people who be out in these streets, passing these CDs out, passing the tapes out, passing the posters up, flyers, putting the posters on cars, on trains. So they promoted the groups. And he was basically like, man, you need to get with Goody Mob. They about to really blow, Jill. He said, you need to get with them. Because before that, Outkast, I remember Ray and them coming to me like, man, you know, why don't you go on the road with Outkast? And I was just like, I was like, no, man, I'm good. Because we just started the big Oomp shit. So, you know, out of perspective, was like, man, I would, but I can't.
Right.
So then here comes Goody Mob coming up. And my boy was like, Jill, you got to go do that. I was like, yeah, you're right. And it was a wrap. He connected us. And then after that, it was, you know, shit, I talked to CeeLo earlier tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was a beautiful thing.
It was that first tour.
Very first tour, boy. I'm talking about CeeLo was mad as hell. Like, we'll be in like New Orleans. Man, we got to do that same fucking cell therapy song. You know, because people, you know, like it was a hit. It was big.
He's tired of it.
And he's right. He was, which happens with all artists, with songs. You know, but that's business.
Right.
So with that, you know, speaking on Goody Mob and touring, what was it like touring with them everywhere? I know you said a little bit right now, but what was it totally just like touring with them? How?
I mean, it was like a team that's trying to get to the championship, you know, and every day is a challenge, and you know, shit is hard. You know what I'm saying? You learn the shit as you go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Getting your per diems on the road, getting a little money to eat some hamburger and shit.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's like any other hard work. It was hard.
Got you.
They first out.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember they was starting to get their publishing check. They was ready to move people out the cribs and everything, but it was like, shit.
Not yet.
Yeah. But I mean, that's with any artist.
Right.
I mean, TLC used to hate being on the road. I remember when I was Bubba Spark DJ, he did not want to be on the road. He's like, fuck this shit.
That's where you get your money at. Why not?
Yeah.
But when you young, you don't know. So most people then didn't know that.
Wow.
Like now it's different.
Yeah. Now they can't wait to get to the
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but back then,
wow,
I gotta leave my house.
That's it. You got to go work the record.
Yeah.
You got to go work the record.
Absolutely.
I know you had something else, Mike.
No, that was it for that one. I just wanted to figure out what was going on with, because you know I was a big Goody Mob fan.
Man,
so I mean that was my, you know, yeah.
Soul
Food.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The second album was so hard.
JJ's Rib Shack and Soul Food. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Collard greens too big for my jeans. Yeah.
Yep. I remember they was shooting a video down at they shot one scene down at what's that place? It's a Jamaican place down there on Edgewood. I think it's still there over there by the it was I can't think of that Jamaican place. Yep, it's a restaurant that's down there. And they said, well, I'm just thinking. I'm talking out loud, fellas. Damn. I remember we was in that motherfucker for hours waiting to do scenes. Boy, learning about videos, being on the set for fucking 6 hours to shoot a 2-minute scene. Shit. Niggas was looking like, God damn.
So what was the main thing you took away from that situation? Just the video shoot, did that help you out in the next step?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience and observation.
Your life, little girl, is an empty page that men will one